going on, fellow cartoonists? Welcome to another cartooning course. As you caught me off guard here, I was busy writing in my nifty little sketchbook slash writing book here. Call it what you will. Okay, not really. That was actually my acting. If you can't tell, I'm an up and coming actor here in Los Angeles, right? Right? Okay, not really. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today, which I thought would be kind of cool. I've mentioned this before in my courses, but I thought I'd go a little bit over the writing process of what I do with my writing for gag comics and cartooning. Writing in general, I like to write articles and blog posts, but since we're all cartoonists here, I thought I'd mention what I do for my gag cartoons and writing those. It's a process that's going to be different with everybody. I mentioned this too. Like we all have, I feel, times when we're kind of in the zone, when we feel a little bit more creative. Some of us, like me, drink a lot of coffee beforehand, and it really gets my brain cells somewhat working sometimes. So we all have these different like moments. Some of us write better in the morning, some of us in the afternoon, some of us in the evenings. What it boils down to, though, is like finding a sweet spot of when your writing is awesome. Like when's the best time for you to spend a good half hour to an hour of writing. Once you figure that out, you got to figure out like a good routine for it so you can keep it up. 6-7 days a week if possible. 5 days a week. If you're doing the whole Monday through Friday thing. Just keep it consistent. And I've mentioned this before, like with writing, it's really interesting. I'll have sometimes when I'm sitting here for a good hour. I do mix it up because I have a few writing projects going on right now. So like some days I'll work on my gag cartoons, other days I'll be writing something else. In general, though, I try to hit on my gag cartoons, since we're talking about those today. At least a half hour a day. So anyway, what I was getting at is sometimes in that half hour, I will stare at my nifty little notebook here at a blank white pages like that have nothing on it. And I won't write down a single thing. Nothing will come to me at all. That may happen one day. The next day I'll go back. The same thing may potentially happen. Nothing comes out of this pen. Luckily, it saves a lot of ink and I don't go through a lot of pens that way. But the bad side of it is I don't get any ideas. And I've explained the creative process before. Again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. Sorry. But anyway, it's true. When you don't come up with ideas, it's still important to sit here and stare at blank pages, because what happens then is a few days later, maybe a week later, maybe the next day, ideas flow out. And it's funny, sometimes when I go through a long stretch of nothing happening, I'll have that one day where like I'm sitting here and I can't stop writing with the pen. And that's when my pens run out quickly, which is a good thing. So the important thing is just to establish a routine. Get in a habit of mentally sitting down, have no distractions. The only thing, it's not a distraction for me. The only thing I'll have going on is I'll play some music in the background, some rock, some Mozart, whatever you want. Whatever you want. Just don't let it. I try to avoid like talk radio and things like that you have to kind of pay attention to. Just more something like in the background or no music at all. Hey, whatever you want. Some people it's a TV, and for some people maybe a talk radio works. Maybe that works for you. I don't know. But point being, get in a routine, whatever is the best setting you can get to help you write, and whatever that is, if it's having background noise or not. Try to avoid any distractions. Put away the cell phone. Put away social media, anything on the computer. That's why, with me personally, like I write in a cheap notebook like this. You can find one of these at Target for probably 30 cents. I don't know. I try to just go with something really cheap and something that you physically write in. I just use a normal pen, write in this. And if I write on the computer, I find that I get distracted. I do, because I have pop-ups sometimes that, right now I have one on my screen. You can't see it. So it's update. Like I don't want to see an update pop up when I'm sitting here trying to come up with gag cartoons. Although there's probably a nice gag cartoon in that somewhere. But anyway, so my point being, I like the old fashioned notebook. When I'm writing my other things like books and stuff like that, yeah, of course, you gotta use a computer. But in general, with gag cartooning, I think a good old fashioned notebook is great. And I'll even show you in here, like, a lot of what I write down is this nonsense, hard to read. I don't take time to fine tune any of these scribbles. You can see they're just all hard to read. I mean, just I can't. I have an issues. I have issues reading my own writing. But the gags themselves, like this one, I don't know if you've seen, but it's just look how I scribble out everything and go back in and fine tune it. My point being is you don't have to have it all like cleaned up and clean, nice writing or anything in it. But I feel like a notebook is just best to really jot down your ideas and to, scribble out what doesn't work. So I do that in an old-fashioned notebook. What I do then the next day, I usually try to do this definitely the next day. I'll go back and I'll look at all the stuff that I wrote down, if things come to me. If they're blank pages, it makes it easy. I don't have to do this. But if I do have cartoons that are written down and drawn and sketched and some ideas written down, I'll go back the next day and look through them again. And sometimes I'll read through them and be like, no, you know what? This stinks. This sucks. I'm going to exit. Or I'll look at it and be like, no, the wording is not that good. I think I need to tweak this and that. But you're fine. Like a lot of times with a fresh new day, you'll go back and if you reread what you put down, sometimes it's great. And if you see it and it makes you laugh and it looks fine, then it typically is. If you read it, you think it's really bad. I find like a lot of times it is. It can be saved. Sometimes you go through and you look at it and you try to save it and come up with something else for it. But it's a good way it's a refresher just to go back in and look at what you wrote down. So that's kind of my routine. I do things in the morning. Morning is my prime time for writing because the coffee is fresh. There's few distractions. The rest of the family is asleep. I get to come out here and honestly, a lot of times I'll prop up my pillows on my bed actually and lounge on that thing. Nothing wrong with that. Who was it? Truman Capote, I think, mentioned he did his best writing in bed. And I believe that. It's nice for me. I can sprawl out and relax. I also have a recliner. Sometimes I'll hop on that thing and sit on there. The chair I'm sitting on today, it's attached to my drawing table. Not attached, but in front of it. You can't see it. But it just sits straight up and it's not comfy. I don't like this to sit here and write. It's too stiff. I like to sit back, relax, lounge, and that usually works good for me. So, point to all this, bundle it all up. What works good for you? Find a nice routine. Make yourself comfortable. Do that routine as much as you can, 5 to 6 days a week. Don't burn yourself out, but about a half hour minimum, I'd say, of writing, and then up to an hour if you can dice it. But you'll find as you go on. If you come up with no ideas, keep at it because they do hit you eventually. If you're new to the game with writing cartoons, you might go months, maybe years, I don't know, not coming up with great stuff. And that's okay. I promise you, if you keep doing it, I mean, you've heard this before. It's like riding a bike or anything. You keep doing it, it'll happen for you. And those blank pages are actually really good. It's good. It means you're creative. It means you're doing the right thing. If you can't think of a damn thing, perfecto, because a few days from now it'll come out. You'll figure out something. The only other thing I can add to a writing routine is sometimes before or after read relatable content of kind of what you're doing. Other comics, I read gag cartoons and things like that. I usually read them after because I don't want to copy anyone, like come up with the same joke. And sometimes I feel like if you read things beforehand, you'll unbeknownst, like subconsciously write kind of the same type of material, which it's good to take, bits and pieces from different gags, or not copy, of course, but that's how you learn to be a cartoonist. You see other people's work and you grow from that, and you find stuff you like and don't like, and then when you read stuff you like, you're like, oh, that's good. I'd like to write kind of like that. But you know what I'm saying. You don't copy, but you get good ideas. You can develop ideas by reading other work, and I like to do that after I write. But anyway, they always said to write well, you have to read a lot. And so with cartooning, read a lot of cartoons. Read a lot of cartoons online and books. And yeah, so get that coffee ready, or Pepsi, whatever you drink. I don't know. And enjoy your writing. That's the main thing too. Just enjoy it. Have fun. Don't get frustrated with not coming up with ideas. I'll hit you later on. And that's really it. I just wanted to run down a few quick, kind of basically what I do every morning. This is the cartoonist life. You write, you draw. That's great. It's good stuff. But that routine thing is definitely worth doing. So, anyways, guys, I've said it before. I have some exciting new courses coming out. Eventually, they've been delayed a little bit because, honest to God, it's just been finding the time to really perfect. Nothing's gonna be perfect, but I'm really putting together like almost a university, call it that, of for cartooning. So there's a lot to it, but it is coming along the way. Sometime soon. I can't give you a date yet. So that's coming. And if you haven't taken my free cartooning courses yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. A lot of the stuff that I just talked about today, I actually mentioned a few writing tips in that, which is kind of a few of it's what I mentioned. I'm just expanding a little bit more today. But get on those. Take it. It's free. Totally free. That's it. I hope this helped. Get your pen. I'm going to get back to writing here. At least make it look like I'm writing. I fear it's a good segue to end this video, I feel. So, all right, guys. Until next time. We'll talk to you later.